All right, topic 4, arrays. For those of you that have done other programming languages, you're probably somewhat familiar with arrays. In Python, arrays are, they're not built in. It's not something that's super heavily used in Python. If you get into more powerful stuff, arrays have kind of been overtaken by NumPy, which is another kind of array, or pandas, which are called data frames. Those all have much larger, more powerful functionality. However, arrays, just to make sure that we've level set with what you can do in other languages, you can create arrays. The differences between a list and array, again, I told you I was going to keep comparing to lists. Lists allow varied data types. You can do, numbers and strings. An array only allows a specified data type. So you have to decide what data type you want your array to take on at time of creation. The other thing arrays do is they allow you to perform manipulations across all elements in the array at once. So if you want to just double all the numbers in an array, you can just immediately double them, and it'll hit all of the items in the array at the same time. Now, with a list, you would just have to iterate over the list to do it. But with an array, you can do it all at once. So again, I said arrays are not built in. You have to import them. So you just say from array, import array. And then if you want to create an array, here's a variable called myArray, and this is the structure that you use. So you have array, and then you have to define the data type, which there's a list of data types in Blackboard. I think I might show on the next slide, but there's a list of array types in Blackboard. The thing to note is that Python does not take on long int and short int and all those things. It's really just simplified down to like integers, floats, as we've been using up till this point. But you say what type you want it to be, and then you take a list of items that you want to put into the array and put it here, and then it creates the array. So now I can print my array, and I can so you can see that this is what it shows when you print the array. It's printing back at you essentially what you put in. Here's the array, and here's the items in the array. And then I can say what's the index of 67, and it can pull back the third item, which is index position 2. So that's one thing you can do. Again, I wasn't sure if this was here, but here it is. You can see that there are lots of different available data types, and this is ones that you would see in C programming. All of these kind of things really map down to much more simply int and float. So you can choose any of these that you want over here. I just use a small letter I, but a large letter I, or a L, a capital L. All of these will end up being essentially the same. So just be aware of that. They just map to integers or floats if they're float or double. And here I show, because I am much bigger fan of lists than arrays, here's a method you can use to convert your array into a list. So I've got my list from array, and then it's myArray.toList. So the method is .toList, and then it converts my list or my array into a list, and then I guess I sort it here with this method, and then I print the output. So you can see I've taken that array, converted it to a list, which is core to Python, which is much more powerful in Python, again, in my opinion, and then I sort it and output it. So that's all I really have to show you about arrays. I just wanted you to be aware that they exist and can be done, just because a lot of you have used them in other programming languages. That's all I have for this week. As always, these slides will be available in the help section in Blackboard, as well as on my GitHub repo.